That was quite an intro, I got to tell you. So you're going to run for governor of California, I guess
Well, right now I'm trying to get out of this business because your audiences are getting so big. Okay, I don't know if you guys know who Charlie Kirk is. He's got 100 million people on social media. Is that right? Okay. 450 employees. He's organized to present at 3,000 colleges a year.
What organizationally, yes. I can't quite make 3,000 campuses myself a year.
Okay. And it looked like you could. This guy's making a difference, and what's crazy is he's waking people up about what's happening and what needs to happen. So give him another big hand.
Thank you, guys. Thank
Charlie, how did all this start, man? How did it start that you go to a campus? I don't even know the story.
The story is amazing. By the way, Grant, thank you for having me, and you've been doing a great job, and it's an honor to be with all you guys. You know, I think my story can resonate with a lot of you because I get called a lot of things, as you can imagine. The one thing I wish I would be called more, which is actually true, is an entrepreneur. I build things. I build organizations. We help build movements. We build messaging. And we helped a certain person become president of the United States recently. And he deserves all the credit. The president deserves the credit. But we helped, especially with younger voters in particular. But Grant, it started back where I grew up, suburbs of Chicago. I wanted to go to West Point. It was my whole life was about going to the United States Military Academy in West Point. Eagle Scout, football, basketball captain, heavily involved in my community. Ended up not getting into West Point. I convinced my parents, hey, I'm not sure if I want to go right into college. I'd like to take a gap year before I go to college. And the idea I had was, hey, I want to start an organization from nothing to try to reach the next generation around first principles of liberty and freedom, and that our country is a great nation and is worthy of preserving and protecting. Well, one gap year turned into 13 gap years.
Wow.
And
but what happened that you wanted to do that? Like,
well,
what was the
understand,
spark?
this was in 2012 Chicago. And for those of you from Chicago, you understand that was very heavy Obama time. You know, being from Illinois, by the way, we have term limits in Illinois. Little different than California. It's 1 term in office, 1 term in jail for our politicians. And my grandmother was a lifelong Republican, passed away about 10 years ago. She's been voting Democrat ever since. And so in Illinois, we had plenty of problems.
Yeah, that was good. That just hit me.
It took you a second.
I got to that one late. Shit,
that one had to go all the way around the room and finally hit Grant.
Oh, I got that shit. That was good. She's probably still getting Social Security.
Oh, yeah. Not if Doge has its way. She's getting her Social Security check. So the process was, look, I saw a problem, and entrepreneurs are problem solvers. It's that simple. People say all the time, Charlie, how do I get rich? How do I be successful? You solve a problem. Once you solve a problem, people will give you value. And when you solve a problem over a period of time better than somebody else, then you have a market differentiator. Well, I saw a very big problem, which was that the nation's youth were dramatically going to the left, that our college campuses were not places of free speech and free dialogue and open discussion. And so I decided to start an organization that would address that. It was called Turning Point USA. Started it in literally my parents' garage with no money, no connections, and no idea what I was doing. And thanks to the Lord's providence, and I have to give credit to God Almighty for his blessing at every single corner and step and turn.
Let's go.
We experienced the most amazing journey over 13 years where I have been able to not just make an impact in the culture and politics, but build something of value and of great substance and depth. As you mentioned, we have over 1,000 employees at Turning Point. We have well over $150 million in revenue between all the different entities. So we have over 430,000 people that donate money to Turning Point USA and Turning Point Action. You can call them our customers. But as a nonprofit, we do have a for-profit arm, which is my show. But as a nonprofit, our customers are actually the students, are actually the target that we are trying to reach every single day. And so it's just been an amazing blessing. And as an entrepreneur, I'm always looking at new problems to try to solve and new ways that we can try to bring an innovative, passionate approach to try to make America a better and stronger country.
Dude, he's selling America. So keep in mind now, I opened this morning. Yeah, we're moving.
Okay. Yeah, thanks.
The president was on this stage and it started moving. He's like, are we moving right? I started this morning by saying everything starts with an idea. And then you take the idea and you start marketing that concept. How important is marketing? Let me just back up. How many people did you have on social media 13 years ago?
11.
Yeah. You were 3 of them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, it was just literally just my Facebook friends from high school,
Right.
back when Facebook was still a thing. I had like 12 Twitter followers back when it was Twitter, not X.
Yeah.
This was before Instagram, before TikTok. It was nothing. It was a 0 to 1 story, but it was also this idea of, okay, the hardest part, believe it or not, was not getting to the billions of views that we now have, or the nearly 5 million people on X, or 6 million people on TikTok, whatever. The hardest part was actually getting to 10,000 followers. The hardest part was getting to 10,000 followers, or 500,000. Once you get at scale, it is the Pareto principle, which is that then once you have more, then getting even more is easier than going from nothing to something. And then you just apply the same success formula over a period of time, and you apply that, and you realize that there is a rhythm to how God designed the universe. And the rhythm is I believe that also the scriptures give us an idea of how we can succeed as business people, entrepreneurs, husbands, wives. And one of the ways that we are told is to treat others the way you want to be treated. Because look, here's the thing. It's love your neighbor as yourself. Leviticus 19, Christ our Lord repeated it. And it's a very important teaching, but in the business world, think about it. If you don't love your neighbor as yourself or treat your neighbor well, no one will want to do business with you. Grant, the reason why you sell this place out for 10 years straight is because people know they're going to get value when they come here. If it was just 1 year and it was the Fire Festival, it would not be the 10X conference, it would be the 10 lawsuit conference.
Right.
But you treat people with value and reciprocal. The worldview that I bring to a lot of students as well, though, as a tangent, is that we believe market principles, not Marxism, but market principles, demand you to treat other people well because you're both getting value in that transaction. That there's 2 winners, there's no losers.
Yeah.
So when somebody comes
right.
to this event, you're winning because you put on all this time and you have to be rewarded for doing all this. Your team all has jobs and all the AV people, but most importantly, the attendees find value and they travel from across the country and they get something out of it. So anyway, going from 0 to 1 and then 1 to 10, 10 to 100.
10X.
Yeah, exactly, 10X.
10X.
In a lot of ways, our story is like a 5,000X story. It is you could say, one of the greatest growth stories in American political, cultural landscape of the generation.
See, I didn't know you saw yourself as an entrepreneur, but I'm glad you said that because I see you as an entrepreneur.
Thank you.
I've always said, oh, that dude's a brilliant marketer, knows how to monetize. He's not selling a product, he's getting people to do something even harder, which is to invest in an idea and a concept that hadn't actually produced itself yet. So I've watched you like, dude, that guy is a monster marketer. Where did the original messaging come from? And then how long did it take you to craft the message to find out what was actually people's buttons?
Yeah, and that's the beauty of social media, that if you really know how to use it, and this is very important, that you should be understanding what your audience is processing as much as what you are posting. And a really good content creator understands the needs, wants, the emotions, and the inclinations of the audience, and then also tries to anticipate what content that the audience will want before they can even actually ever verbalize it or vocalize it. So as an entrepreneur kind of in the social media space, I had a very difficult job. It's easy to kind of look now in 2025, oh yeah, of course, Charlie, you have all these followers. I want you to think of how difficult my job was even 8 years ago.
Yeah.
8 years ago, I had to go to college campuses and reach young people on the idea that I'm not gonna forgive your student loans, I'm not gonna give you free healthcare, I'm not going to give you free money to not to work, and I'm not going to say I'm going to legalize every drug that you can use for any reason you want to do it. And my message actually is no, you can be really successful, but you have to apply actions differently than what you're currently doing, and America's actually an awesome country.
Yeah.
My message was rooted in a victor mentality, not a victim mentality. Way harder.
Yeah.
You know how easy my
this violated the customer's always right.
Well, in some ways, but the customer the customer had two things they wanted simultaneously. Outwardly, they wanted just free stuff for their flesh, but also deeply they realized that gives them misery and not a life of prosperity or excellence or flourishing. When our job was, how do we get the audience or the customer to try to reach to a better version of themselves? And we saw this, quite honestly, post-COVID was a great tragedy. And we also have to be very morally clear. There's COVID and our reaction to COVID. Mm-hmm. Our reaction to COVID was far worse than anything COVID actually ever did to our society. Mm-hmm. And that must always be stated, that the lockdowns, the masking, and what our reaction to COVID did is it created a generation that was so angered, that was so depressed, that was so drug addicted, that was so searching for answers, that we were able to come by with a very compelling message and be not just viral, but also very appealing to a generation that was drowning in the nonsense of the modern zeitgeist. Not to mention, you had an entire generation of young men that were being told that it was a problem that you merely even existed, that if you're a young white man, you have to apologize for just breathing at some of these schools. And so what we were able to do, and we're very thankful for it, was really fill that vacuum and fill that void.